Welcome, everyone. Welcome. This is your credit expert, your credit doctor, Costello James. Welcome live on Tuesday night, the live credit show that is. And so I'm super excited that you're here with me again on Tuesday night. So it's going to be a really great show. It's going to be a very informative show as usual. So thank you so much for spending time with me on Tuesday night. Shout out to everybody that's coming in now. I know everybody is logging on. Shout out to Sheila and Mr. Oliver. Okay, well, my God, I got a special privilege today. Got Mr. Oliver. Thank you, Mr. Banks is in the house. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me see, Mr. Oliver may need you to help my sister. Okay, you know I will. Absolutely. Mr. Lamar, thank you so much. Happy Tuesday to you as well. Thank you so much for everybody that's going to be joining the show on tonight. Thank you, Pastor. You did an outstanding job on our Sunday edition of the live credit show. This show is about credit, and it's about taking your credit to the next level. It's about disputing anything that's on your credit. It's also about maintaining excellent credit, and also just getting through the complicated trauma, if you will, and drama about credit. So this is the live credit show. What's going on? Lisa Williams is in the house. Thank you so much for everybody that's joining me right now live on YouTube and live on Facebook. I certainly have a great topic on tonight that we're going to be diving into. So it's really that'll be fun. So share this particular show right now. Tell a friend, call somebody, text them. You all know what to do. Let them know that, hey, the credit doctor is on. Mr. Fletcher, what's going on? Thank you so much. It is going to be amazing. I have a real live testimony on tonight. One of my excellent clients, he's one of them that's in the VIP club. So he's with me backstage right now. None other than Mr. Shamari Lee. And so I'm not going to keep him very long, but I want to get in the way and out of the way so I can let him have ample time to be able to tell his particular story. But tonight we're going to be talking about the question that is asked of everybody, you, myself, and all around the country. Do you want generational wealth? That's our topic on tonight. Do you want generational wealth? And so wealth is, and I wrote a couple of notes. I want to read that before we get started. So wealth is also an abundance of valuable possessions or money. So I don't want to just only to make it about money, but it's abundance of valuable possessions, whether it's houses, cars, whether it's your credit card, so and money. So it is the abundance and the value of possessions or money. All right. So I really want to admonish you that, wealth is what you want to accumulate in life. This is going to be beneficial to you. It's going to be beneficial to your sons, to your daughter. We have to break that cycle. The cycle will break when you have that stern tenacity and you want to make sure that you live better and you want the generation after you to live better. You don't want to just see people struggle, and you most certainly you don't want to struggle yourself, but you want to make it easier for the next regime, the next generation. So that's why I picked this particular topic on tonight, generational wealth. Not just so much I want to be rich, but it's the generational wealth, the wealth that does belong to you, the wealth that you are entitled to. That's something that is in your reach. And so I want to read you something else too, because many people read books. I'm an author as well, but I just like it. I love the Bible and I love different things that I read out of the Bible. And it says Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18, it says, but thou shalt remember the Lord thy God for it, and he will give thee the power to get wealth. And so that's in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18. And it says, for the Lord, he giveth power to get wealth. All right. And also Proverbs 13 and 22, it says, for a good man, all you dads out there, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children, and the wealth of the sinner watch this, is laid up for the just. All right. So it's a good man that leaves an inheritance. It's a good person that leaves an inheritance. All you single mothers, certainly I applaud you. And I'm so grateful to you, doing what you do every day of your life. You're out there making it happen. All right. So we're talking about generational wealth. And my statement to you right now, what would you leave for the next generation? If you had to go to glory, and I'm not saying you checking out of here tonight or in the next hour and you going to glory to meet the Lord, but if you had to leave, what would they say about your legacy? What would be able to be recorded as the wealth that you're leaving for the next regime, the next generational? So, this is what we want to make sure. That means whether it's your house, whether it's your car, whether it's a pair of lamps, whether it's a table, what heirloom, what are you leaving for somebody that lets them know or solidifies that, hey, I was here on earth. I was a great person. I was a great man. I was a great woman. My credit report. And that really brings me to this point, my credit report. The wealth in that credit report has to reflect that 3-digit number. That 3-digit score. With personal credit, you get a 3-digit score. With business credit, you get a 2-digit score. But what would reflect that particular number? So if you are 725, you have to have that wealth. You have that portfolio, if you will. You want to build that credit report up so it will reflect that 3-digit score. So you will be able to get that house. You'll be able to get anything that you desire, that you need, and that you want. Now, some stuff you just don't need. Some stuff, most people, say certain things. I don't try to say all of those cliche things, but, I don't really desire a Bentley. Now, if somebody give it to me, most certainly I'll take it. But the wealth that you're trying to accumulate here while you're on earth, because you only have, as they say, one life to live. So you want to make it good. All right. So we're going to be talking about wealth. I wanted to bring this young man on. What's going on, Jeremy? I'm here. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the Live Credit Show. I'm your host, Costello James. And it's going to be an awesome show tonight, as you already can feel it and sense it in your spirit. All right. But I have a young man backstage. His name is Shamari Lee, the professional, and he's a leader in his own right. And this young man has had great success with my company. I wanted him to tell it in his own words and his own timing. And by the way, this is my last show here in Dallas, Texas. And I'll talk about that towards the end of the show. But then I'm going to be resuming when I get back to Atlanta officially. So I thought it not robbery, and I wanted to have him on. We talked about this, I believe, about a month ago or so, or we've been talking about it for a little while. And I wanted him to come, and he's my final guest in Dallas. That doesn't mean that I'm not coming back to Dallas. Doesn't mean that I'm not coming back. There's a store here called Buc-ee's. Oh, Buc-ee's. Boy, these people love this Buc-ee's store. Buc-ee's. Now, they do have an awesome croissant. That sausage, egg, and cheese croissant is off the hook. All right, Buc-ee's is, you go to Buc-ee's, you would think Buc-ee's here in Texas. You all that's in Texas, Dallas, and all over, y'all know about Buc-ee's, and you would think it is Walmart. It just blew my mind. I know Shamari's dying backstage. But anyway, we're talking about generational wealth. You need to leave something. I don't care if it's a shirt. I don't care if it's I don't know if they want to walk in your shoes or your favorite pair of shoes, but you need to pass something on. All right. So generational wealth, you got to break the cycle. Now, how do you do that? You got to have discipline, sacrifice, and motivation. We're going to talk about that. Discipline, sacrifice, and motivation. So in order to accumulate wealth, you got to have discipline, sacrifice, and motivation. Some of you do not like to sacrifice. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Shamari Lee. He's going to tell you his particular story, and his success story is just phenomenal. So welcome with me at this time, Mr. Shamari Lee.
Good evening, everybody.
What's going on, young man?
Not much. I said just happy to be here.
Now I can hear you.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I'm just excited to be able to share my testimony and my success story with your company, and with how God has blessed me through you, and my discipline as well. Well, of course, as I announced, like probably a couple weeks ago, about the me choosing a house and being able to get approved for the house and things of that nature. But of course, there's a beginning to all of this.
Right.
So back in October of 2018, I actually met Mr. Costello. And first, of course, like any other person, you know, you're like, okay, am I investing my money into something that's going to be worth my while? You know what I mean?
Right.
I was like, and of course, after speaking with him and then seeing him in person, I felt very confident in the decision that I made. Thank you, Lisa. Um, and I, so as I began with the journey, though my credit wasn't like in a state where it just really was just terrible or anything, it, I was just I know I wanted to increase and make my score higher. So when I did get to the point of purchasing my home, that I would be in a better place to get a better interest rate. And, you know, ultimately, as they say, credit is almost everything. I was like, so, and if anybody can probably relate to my story, is like the fact is, it's kind of like when you go to a car dealership and you see these cars and they're like, oh, well, I can put you in this.
Right.
I said, but I'm not one of those people who just settles for just putting me in something.
Right.
I knew what I wanted.
Correct.
I was like, so the fact is, you know, and as you said, it takes discipline, sacrifice, and motivation. I said, because ultimately all of those things is what it took to get my credit score from where it started to where it is now.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's been about 3 weeks ago now that I actually went in and did the deal on my home. And it was just truly a blessing to be able to just go in there with confidence and know that I was going to be able to. I picked out the house that I wanted.
Yeah.
I was able to choose the options that I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and I chose the lot that I wanted. You know what I mean? So it's not like you just get someone whatever they're having to give you.
Right.
So the other part about it is that I'm truly blessed, and kind of what you're talking about, the generational wealth. I did it on my own.
Yes.
You know, it's like, and that's the part where, if anything, if anybody, there's a gratification that you get when you, guess what? I did this. You know what I mean? I said, of course, with God's help.
Yes.
And then, of course, with Mr. Costello helping me get my, I said, so, and when you're financing a house that's almost $280,000, I say, you know, that's a true testament of, you know, and so I'm just, you know, truly honored and thankful that you came about in my life, and I was able to see you on the internet when I lived in Atlanta at the time, to begin that journey. And so if any person is out there and they're looking to purchase a home, those things that he mentioned are the discipline, the sacrifice, and motivation are very important in that. I mean, you know, I went through the part of just really having to buckle down and sacrificing the fact of going out shopping and doing the other things. You know, I said I had to pay credit cards off. Of course, all my bills are already paid on time anyways. I said, but the fact is, you know, when you like to buy things, it's like sometimes it's, you know, you got to kind of scale back on those things when you have a goal in mind. And that's the ultimate thing. You need to make sure that you put your goal up there, and then the steps that you're going to take to get to that point, I say, is what's important. You know, sometimes you may have to miss a dinner with your friends, or you may have to invite them over versus going in.
Right.
In this day and age, we're not going anywhere, but you know.
Oh, that's right. So, that's right. Because you know I'm not going.
Exactly. So, and you know what I think right now, and though we're going through a pandemic right now, I think this has been the best time, and at least personally for me, I've saved so much money during this time of not going anywhere, really not, you know, buying anything, because ultimately you're not really doing much. So it's like ultimately I've just been saving, and just kind of, you know, as you're preparing for a home purchase, of course you shouldn't be using your credit cards. You shouldn't be doing anything out of the norm, but just saving. And so I would encourage any person who is out there, and they desire a home, you know, one, kind of course, break down your finances and see what is going to be best for you. I said, even if you're in a marriage or a partnership or whatever the case may be, I said, I would always say, live off of, you know, buy a home that one person can afford by themselves.
Absolutely.
And, you know, because that's very important, and especially in this day and age that we're in right now, I said, there's a lot of people who have lost their jobs. I've been very blessed to continue to have my job. That is another thing I can also say as well. I've been on my job for 20 years. So that is, so I've been very blessed to go through many different things, up and downs, but I still have my job. So for those people, I say, staying on the same job is very important as well. It made it very easy when I was talking to the underwriter, and that was probably she said my file was one of the smoothest files she's ever worked with. I said, because there was not much that she needed me to do, that's, that's my story, and I really, and also I can also tell you, for those people who are kind of, for me, I recommended my mother, and Mr. Costello can even tell you that her scores have dramatically increased, and so she's very happy. And of course, we're continually working on that. And even for myself, I'm continually working because, I have that goal. I want that 800 as well, but
and shout out to your mom. Shout out to your mom. She's probably watching. What's going on, Miss? Shout out to her.
Yes. So, but for those people who are wondering, is it real? Yes, it is. I said the fact is.
Let me interject real quick.
Yes.
That's another thing. Let's piggyback right there, and then I'll go forward. Most people want to know, can I trust this company? Because I've heard so many bad things about Credit Repair Company, and it seemed like the only company that I think is okay because they got LAW in their company name, and I've seen them on TV, and I see him. He has this little show and stuff. They love to say a little show, but it's reaching a lot of people. He got his little show and stuff of that nature. But I saw so-and-so on TV with Lexington Law or Lexington this or Scooby-Doo, this, that, and other. Is it real? Am I a real CEO? Am I a real businessman? Did I come even when I was sick? Do you remember I was sick as a dog, but I would not break my word. I still came. So is it for real? What would you tell that person that, and I don't blame them because you can't give your social security number and give all your credit card information. And my God, they're going to know everything about you, your driver's license. So is this a safe company? Exceptional Credit Repair LLC. Is this safe? For me to, call him and hook up with his company.
It is most definitely. Like I said at the beginning, of course, I wanted to meet him face to face. I had that privilege. Not everybody gets that, of course, because I just happen to be in the same city. But, as a business person, of course, I'm very watchful over my money and things that I do. I've had nothing but success. The communication has been good. Even, during times that I've been busy, Mr. Costello is still reaching out and, of course, understanding that I'm very busy, and so is he. So, and be patient. Patience is very key as well. It does take time. Like I told you, from my journey, it began in October 2018. And so it's really just kind of paying attention to yourself. I mean, you have to, want to do better for yourself. And like I said, the discipline, the sacrifice, and motivation, it all kind of comes along with it. If you want that house, if you want, and as Pastor just said, you got to trust in God. As in, I think, as a lot of things, is walking by faith and not by sight. Because a lot of times it's like you really just don't know. And guess what? I'm a Black young man from a single mother. I say, I've seen my mother struggle. And the thing that you're speaking about this evening, generational wealth, I said, of course, I may not have any kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and I would love to be able to leave them something, Yes. And so it's one of those things where a lot of Black families, seeing that I'm Black, I say, we need to do a better job.
No, you kind of look like you white a little bit.
I said, so it's kind of one of those things where you need to really just we need to do a better job at teaching our kids, and even right now, I would recommend that parents that have their kids, guess what? Sit in on a show. So they can actually see it and hear about those things. I sit in, because educated, I have friends that were Caucasian, and their parents were putting them on their credit cards when they were younger. So of course these kids, by the time they were already, they already had, their score was already up there. So, those things, and just teaching people. So I even, of course, you've heard me talk about at my different stores that I've ran and things of that nature, I like to go and I like to sit down and talk with my staff. I say, you know what I mean? You know, we talk about their goals. We talk about the things that are their children, things of that nature. So it's about really helping everybody, you know, no matter wherever you are. It's like, you know, if I can help somebody, I will.
That's right.
And I think that's what more people, not just Black people, but I think more people in this world, yes, should just really share the wealth of knowledge that they have.
Right.
And so.
Well, listen, congratulations on your process of buying your home. He started with me in 2018, and this is manifesting. This is one piece of the pie, if you will. So he's actually doing it in 2020. So I applaud you for staying the course and not giving up, hanging in there. You're still working. We're going through the pandemic. Nobody could have probably predicted this. I know I didn't. So for all them lying people out there, I saw this coming. You ain't seen that because you didn't want us. So at the end of the day, congratulations to you. It is awesome. This show is all about credit and finances. And I want to piggyback off something that you said, and congratulations again. But it's not just your score was not like 400 or 399. So it was a mid place, if you will, and I took it, you know, with your help, we working together as a collaboration, and we took it to the next level. And you're still growing, and you're still achieving, and you're still, and it's just a pleasure to be able to listening at you right now with some of the stuff. I can hear some of the things that was said, and you've now learned them, and you're able to talk about it. Just like with the mortgage broker, that's a compliment to yourself as well as my company. She said this is one of the smoothest process, because a lot of times it is a lot of hiccups versus student loans, big balances on their credit card. They maybe have 3 or 4 collections, or maybe even 10 or 15. So your process, you was able to get the work done. And that's what we've been trying to do. And this is what I would say to people. Stop thinking, and they say this, but they're not getting it, Mr. Lee. They said, I know it's going to take time, because the old saying is, I didn't get in trouble overnight, so I messed it up, or whatever that cliche stuff that they say. But a lot of times they're very impatient, but it takes some time in order to achieve success. You will get it, but you got to hang in there. And that's why I picked tonight, discipline, sacrifice, because that's what it takes for me as a businessman. I can't just go out there like, I want me 2 David Yurman bracelets. I really do. I want 2 David Yurman, but I'm not going out. Now I might buy 1, but I ain't going to buy 2, so I really want 2 and the necklace, but discipline. Discipline says you don't need to be buying no David Yurman right now. It's a very prestigious jewelry line, at Neiman's and Saks and all of that stuff. So at the end of the day, for me, when it comes down to a goal, a big tangible goal, you have to sacrifice. If you don't sacrifice, you're not going to get there. And then you have to motivate yourself. What would you say?
You're true. I mean, I say definitely. I say, one of the things that, like I was telling you, though my score was okay, and I wanted to take it to the next level.
Yes.
The reasons why I wanted to take it to the next level was, 1, the interest rate. I said, because the fact is, the better your credit is, I said, the better interest rate you can get. I said, and, I don't want to be, there's many different programs you can take advantage of, whenever you're in the process. And like I said, we spoke about this many times. You can get a loan at 580 or 620 or whatever the case may be. I said, but the thing is, what type of interest rate are you going to get? And also, how much, because when you do those programs, they do charge a higher interest rate, because you are a little bit, you're more of a little bit more of a collateral risk in a sense, Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that's the reason why companies, they'll, like I said, they'll approve you. I said, the fact is, but you're going to take a little bit higher interest rate. Right. And so I was very fortunate whenever, the score that I was at, and it may get a little better closing, but as of right now, it's like I'm at a 3.6, so that's
awesome.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I would tell any person, if you're in the market and you're looking for a house right now, is the best time to do it, because those interest rates are almost unheard of. I purchased a home back in 2005, and my interest rate was like 6%. I mean, so it was,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and back then that was, we thought that was somewhat decent, what I mean?
Right.
But
you hadn't met me yet. You hadn't met me.
and so, but I'm very blessed and very thankful for having you come along and help me with the discipline as well. I mean, I'm a pretty disciplined person, but when they say this is what I need you to do, and you need to do this, I said to get to this level, and guess what? If you follow those instructions that he's given you, I said, and truly, be patient, I said it will happen.
Yes. What's going on, Timothy? Thank you. Let me shout out everybody that's coming in. Timothy, thank you for joining me. And this young man, I do not want to butcher your name, but I'm just going to say ISSO. If I can't say it, I can spell it, baby. ISSO. I agree as well. This is all about credit. This young man, we're sending congrats to him. He has, he's purchasing his home. And this is a brand new client of mine. Where is Takara? I hope I said that right. If I didn't, I know I have to remember Sierra Takara. I think I'm trying to get it right. But at the end of the day, yes, she's a brand new client she's going through the process right now. So congratulations to Shamari and all the people that's going to be, on this same, house club, the house club and the 700 club. This is amazing because it does take, and that's the thing that I want to talk about with generational wealth. You can't leave anything to anybody that you don't have. You got to have that discipline. You got to have that sacrifice, and you got to have that motivation, because there are going to be some days, just like there are many days that I say, I'm not doing the show no more. I'm going to just quit. But you have to have that inward motivation that it will happen, because everything is not instamatic all the time. And this is one of those processes. It takes time. And number one, I want to say to all of you road runners that work here 3 months, work here 6 months, now you're a mechanic. Now you're an electrician. Now you done went to the strip club. Now you done, I think I need to make me some health drinks. You got to have this young man. This young man, you've been on your job for how long?
20 years.
20 years. Do you understand that stability? That's the stability there. And so it is phenomenal for you. And he's a classy man. And let me interject this. This is a young man that I always talk about. Me and this young man have, now I'm a little bit older than him. Might be a lot. I don't know. But we have the same birthday. May 20th is our day. That's so right. People like us, we love hard, but we don't like no crap. We don't like no crap. We just can't tolerate it. So, but he is awesome. You've heard his own words. And, just to elaborate about the company or not, what was it any time that you felt like I ignored you on purpose just because you called me one day and I couldn't maybe get to you that day? Did you get that type of vibe that I just wanted your $300 or that $175? Some of the people came in on the specials and stuff of that nature. Did I hound you for money and say, listen, I'm doing such a good job, you're gonna pay me, or I'm ceasing and desisting all work? Did I talk to you with dignity and respect? Did I get your dispute letters out? Did I send you updates? What did I do, concerning all that?
You were very informative, very on time. I mean, I said, and guess what? If you weren't able to talk to me, you would send me a message letting me know I will be back. I'll get with you soon, or whatever the case may be. And I in business, I asked for the same consideration. I said, because the fact is, I've been area supervisor in my job before. I was like, and the fact is, when you're running 8 restaurants at the same time, guess what? I may not be able to get back to you at that moment. I said, so I understand. When you're running a business, and a very busy business, people have to be understanding sometimes, and that's all I'm a very understanding person, because the fact is, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of mess, but I didn't make all that mess overnight. So the fact is, it takes a little while to clean up or fix whatever you may want to fix or make better,
Well, I will say this is the purpose of getting the book. And the reason why I say this is not because, Dave Ramsey has a book. I have a book. Susie Orman has a book. Oprah has a book. Michelle Obama has a book. Most great thinkers, that have been led to write a book, have a book. But this is your credit manual, your credit Bible. This is what's going to help you. It's not just for people that have bad credit. It's for people that will want to fix their credit and continue to maintain your credit and take it to the next level. So I do encourage you to go on Amazon.com and get that book. It's entitled Teach Me How to Fix My Credit. Now, here's the other thing. I have people that say, oh, I got your book. I said, now, them jokers don't even realize that I get a printout of who actually purchased the book. So, when they say, oh, I ordered the book and I don't ever see it, I'm thinking, okay, a man is only good as his word. And so I wanted you to express how you felt about the process, because sometimes the ladies, I will say, and I know y'all gonna probably throw some tomatoes, but I'll probably throw them back. So that's the tourist in me. But at the end of the day, a lot of times people want you to instantly call them back. But I'm a businessman. Say that again, Casacello. I'm a businessman. Like tomorrow, I got a busy schedule. So if you don't get a call back that day, and most times 9 times out of 10, I'm going to text you, I'm going to call you, I'm going to do all I can, because I believe that communication is the key. But most people, they still have that particular last hurt or that last disappointment, because, I can't tell you how many times from other companies, and I'm not even going to blame all of them. They say, well, I stayed with that company for over 8 months and they ain't do nothing but kept collecting my money, this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, well, you kept paying them, so why did you do that? I
that's it
at all.
That's one of the good things about it. It's a one-time $300 fee. I say the fact is, guess what? I'm sure you can fit that somewhere. You know what I mean? If nothing else, save it up. I said, it's important. I think that's one of those things where if it's worth it to you, you'll make it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You'll figure it out. And so I can say it's truly been great. And people have to also understand that some things are very stubborn about coming off of there. I mean, sometimes you really have to continue to work. I say, and sometimes when Mr. Costello wasn't available, I said, and I was waiting. Guess what? There are certain things that I've learned from. I did purchase a book. Yeah. I said, and the thing is knowing how to be able to talk to the creditors to get something removed. Yeah. I said, I had something that was very stubborn that wasn't coming off, but guess what? I said, I got an email today. I said, show me on my FICO, let me know that it had come off of there. I said, so the fact is, you got to do your work as well, along with Mr. Costello doing his, to be successful. Yeah. And so, go ahead.
Not only that, and I totally agree with everything you just said. You have to do the work. You have to do the work. And what's that chick that says you got to put the work in or whatever? Jean Levanzon or whatever. You got to do the work. If you don't, and I think they have a misconception of what, I tell a lot of people, my stuff. I tell them this is a pen, not a magic wand. It's a pen, not a I can't poof, and then it's all off your credit report. It's just like going to court. This is the process. You put in your best refuting of whatever is negative or adverse, meaning the same thing, that's on your credit report. But you have to hang in there with that attorney. You have to hang in there with that credit expert, because they know the way, they know the route, they know the way. And what they're going to do with discipline, sacrifice, and motivation, they're going to keep working with you. And so it's almost like I said on another show, you got to help me help you. And if you don't help me help you, then we're not going to have success. And then the thing about it, as you said, it's a one-time fee. It's not $1,500. It's not $2,000, which it deserves that and some more, because anything that'll change your life and you have something generational that you can pass down, like a house, like a car, like finances. Some of my clients get credit cards that have no limit. I've seen many clients that get credit cards for $30,000, $15,000. They've said it on my show. So you can't put a price tag on that type of professionalism and that type of love. So, but I want to ask you this, going through the process, this is the fun part, because, I love looking at a nice home too. So do you have upstairs, downstairs? Tell us a little bit about the house, because I know it's laid out.
Believe it or not, as I'm getting a little older. I just chose a one story, but I chose a larger one story. So it's about 2,200 square feet in a one story.
Okay.
It is a smart home. So of course it has a little technology things. You can speak to the house. You have your the Ring video cameras and things of that nature everywhere. Going with a new build, there are perks to it, and I think people should kind of, if you're really looking into it and you're wanting to use somebody else's money sometimes, guess what? Go with a new build. I said, because the fact is, they're going to pay your closing costs a lot of times. You may have to come up with your down payment. Even in my case, it's like the earnest money that I put down on my home is actually going to come out of my down payment. So ultimately, generally when you're doing a FHA or even a conventional, your loan, it'll probably, in mine, it's almost $10,000. So I'm only having to come up with $7,000 now after my earnest money. So
okay, let's stop right there. So
yes.
You're coming up with $7,000. So to me, that's discipline, because I'm quite sure it just didn't fall out the air. And you're very conscientious, professional, like nice things, get a nice haircut type of young man, with nice ear pods in your ear that ain't cheap, So
I like to drive a nice car and everything else.
We ain't gonna tell you that, because then they'll be trying to see emails trying to take that cause no trouble. So at the end of the day, that took discipline. And most people, when I tell them, even while you're going through credit restoration, that's, I like to call it credit. I hate to even call it credit repair, because it has such a bad connotation, out there in the world. But at the end of the day, going through restoration, restoring stuff, not so much the stuff that you lost. If you lost it, then let that go. Get something that's more fortified and something that's going to stand, and it's greater. It's going to be brand new, because I want me a new build too. I want nobody sitting on the toilet first but me. I don't. So, and I hate to tell it like that, but I'm me. So at the end of the day, I'm going to buy me a new build when I get back to Atlanta. So at the end of the day, it has its perks. He came up with $7,000. So yes, you need some savings. My rule for any client, you need to at least have $5,000 already in your savings. You at least, the bare minimum, you need $5,000. If somebody telling you can slide with 2,000, 3,000, you playing baseball and sliding in. But if I was you, I would take the 5,000 and build on it. Yes.
To tell people who are in, depending on your credit situation, sometimes lenders will require a little bit more than that. I mean, I said, so you have to be, don't let your eyes buck out, because the fact is, sometimes you're going to hear those numbers at what they may expect. You need to be prepared for that. They will sometimes want money in the bank after you didn't gave $7,000. They still want you to have maybe a couple months in the savings.
Yes.
So the fact is, be prepared for those type of things, depending on your credit profile. So those are just some things. I mean, you'll get very educated, and depending on the lender that you have, I have a very good lender. That was another thing that was also very, I guess, about the whole process of it is, once you get your credit score to that next level, I said the fact is, you can, if you go with their preferred lender, there's money there's things that are also given there as well. So with me going with their preferred lender, I got other little perks as far as that, and extra $15,000 on this, that, and the other. So there was, so it pays to do the work, and at the end of the day, you're satisfied and happy with yourself, and the only thing I can say is I give all glory to God. You know what I mean? I said, because He allows me to be able to wake up every day. Of course, He puts people in my path to help me along the way. And so all I can do is, pray for Mr. Costello's business, that it continues to grow. I said, because he has helped me to grow as a person, and to be a little even more disciplined than I already was. But I think those are some things that, people should really think about, because it is a serious process, But like I said, it's because they will take you through the ringer. But I can say it's if you've got all your ducks in a row and you're a very well disciplined person, I just sent over everything that I needed to send very quickly to them. They didn't have to wait for anything. And that's the reason why I think she said it was like the easiest, very smooth process, because it was like everything was done, you know. So now it's just wait till the house is finished, you know.
I know that's right. So it is 2,200 square feet. That you said 2,200. That's nice. That's a nice home now.
Yeah,
nice
4 bedrooms, 3 baths.
4 bedrooms,
3 baths. Yes.
Oh, and 3 baths. Excuse me. All right. All right. All right. All right. Well, I just have 2 right now, so
that's all right.
All right. Okay. But I'm working. Trust me, I'm working on it right now. I got you. So congratulations to that. I don't want you to go anywhere. I'm going to take a commercial and we're going to come back because I just want you, just to give some more encouragement to that person that's just tuning in to the show right now. And somebody was saying that they agree. And a lot of people were saying that they're ready in the comments, because what I'm finding, and I've been doing this as a credit expert and a credit analyst. That means a credit analyst is somebody that studies the data and that studies the highs, the lows, and that studies the process of that industry. And so that's what I do as an expert. I study the process and the laws, to be able to take your credit to good places, excellent places, as well as, if there's any type of issue, adverse situation going on. So for me, I just want you to talk to that particular person, concerning Exceptional Credit Repair LLC. We're going to take a commercial and we'll be right back. Well, I don't know if you read the last part of the commercial, but it says the best is yet to come. That was the last part on that commercial. I love them commercials, very classic. And so this is Mr. Shamari Lee. If you're just tuning in with us, tonight is about generational wealth. The question is, do you want generational wealth? What are you leaving for your son? You can't beat them across the head and beat your daughter up and tell them they're never going to be anything. And many of you that say, well, I don't tell my family members that, but you also want to give them some tools, and you want to equip them to be able to pass something on even to their families and their friends. And as I said, off camera, Mr. Lee was talking, I was talking about sometimes just because they're not related to you doesn't mean that they're not family, because thank God that there's a lot of people that I've came in contact with around the country. And Mr. Lee can tell you that there's a lot of people that my company reach, and I'm grateful for that. I become like family to them, because the first thing, if anything ever happens, he's always able to call me. He's part of the alumni. So it's not going to be, well, maybe in 2 years or maybe whenever he might want to refinance that wonderful home. So, you want to make sure that you keep a good relationship with people. Don't treat people, any kind of way, or be mean-spirited to them or rush them, or not even tune into shows like this. Because I will tell you, with discipline, sacrifice, and motivation, you got to motivate yourself. There's not going to be a lot, like you might be like me. I don't have a lot of friends. I never had a lot of friends in my life. I've always kind of been that person that's kind of solo and, know 1 or 2 of good people personally. But when it comes down to making it happen, Casacello know how to stand on his own 2 feet. I don't have my mom anymore. She's in heaven. She's been dead now, or deceased, about 4 years now. So that was my everything. So, but thank God she instilled that in me to be able to survive, to be able to start my company, to be able to reach thousands of people across the country. So what would you say to that person that says, you know what, I feel like I want to watch Netflix tonight, or I feel like, but but they really need to watch this show because they say it. You know, I'm tired of hearing my neighbors next door, they're noisy, and I'm tired of every time I pull up at my building, I can't get a parking space, and they've been on their job for a sufficient amount of time. What would you say to that person that's saying, well, I don't know about those other companies, and why should I trust that guy in that yellow shirt? Why should I trust him?
I would say this is kind of, it's like a relationship. I said, you make time for the things that you want to make time for.
Absolutely.
I said, so the fact is, you know, if it means something, if it means a lot to you, I said, you're going to invest into it. I said, even when I'm busy, guess what? I may not always be able to see the video, but I may be listening with these lovely little AirPods.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, I may be walking around. I said, but the fact is, I'm always going to, I want to encourage anybody, I said, and support someone I know is doing good. I said, the fact is, and I think that needs to happen more often than it does. You know, it's like a lot of people, we need to be supporting one another. I said, the fact is, through the journey as well, have positive people around you, I said, who understand your goal. You know, for me, I remember back in early March, some friends and I, we did a vision board night, and just kind of writing out the vision that I have for 2020. Now, of course, I said, I'm not going to allow what's happening in 2020, you know, in this world to stop me from reaching my goals.
I know that's right.
I said, so, you know, that's where you have to understand. I say, if you believe and trust in God and know that He's going to take care of you, I said, the fact is, if you truly believe, you know that, guess what? I said, that's my father. You know what I mean? I said, like I told you, I had a single mother. So guess what? He's the only father that I know, you know? I said, so I have to trust and know that He's going to take care of me and He's got me, you know? I said, so that's one of those things. But having the right people around you and just keeping yourself encouraged, I said, through the process, I said, is important, you know, and trusting people. I know it's hard to trust people. I said, but unless someone gives you a reason not to trust them, I said, I think, and Mr. Costello didn't give me any reason to doubt him, and that he's been consistent, you know? So that's the reason why I can trust, you know, when he says something, or if he asks me to do something, guess what? I'm gonna do it because I trust his advice, you know? And because if it wasn't sound, I'm like, okay, he knows I'm out, or I'm gonna question it. I'm gonna ask, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm a person, I ask lots of questions, you know, and because you need to get a true understanding, you know what I mean? It's like, and all that getting an understanding, you know what I mean? I was like, and so that's the thing that people have to really just do. I mean, you know, use discipline. I say, you know, use good judgment. You know what I mean? I say, even in your finances, okay, what can you live without? You know what I mean? I said, to make you reach your goal. You know what I mean? If it's just that $300 just to get your credit started, you know, it's very important that you sacrifice somewhere. You know what I mean? If it means that much to you,
right?
And you know, as we said, it's like, it's baby steps. You know, little things, you know, to get you to that point. You know,
and I totally agree. And Lewis is an excellent real estate broker here in the Texas. And I'm gonna elaborate a little bit, and I'm gonna let Mr. Lee go because he's got to do his stuff, and I don't want to keep him on now because I wish I had some of that good food there.
Hey.
But Lewis, if you're in Dallas, Texas, anywhere in Texas, Frisco, Plano, Grand Prairie, wherever, call this young man. He's an excellent real estate broker. He will help you. He will get it done. I promise you, he will speak to you with dignity and respect. You need to call Lewis immediately. This is a real estate broker. He will help you through your buying process and walk you through that process. I promise you, you've seen him on this show. You can go back and watch other shows. But I want to say congratulations. You've been a breath of fresh air. Even those days that clients made me mad, you were still so encouraging and so nice. And you just, you know, walk with me through the process. and you deserve this house and another one, because generational wealth doesn't mean that I just give Mr. Lee today $20, because if he spends that over a period of time, it'll be gone. Generational wealth is something that goes on for the lineage of your family and the lineage of your friends. It means decades, months, years, decades, even centuries. You know, in other words, it'll outlive me. It'll outlive me. And so that's what you want. And I thought about this, Mr. Lee. I didn't have time enough to go get it. I was going to get a big pot of dirt, and I was going to take a $100 bill and put it in that dirt. Hear me good. And I hope you hear me if you're watching this in the morning, late at night, 12 o'clock night, whatever. So I was going to get a big pot of dirt, and I was going to take the $100 bill and put it in the dirt. And before I put it in the dirt, you can clearly see, as the viewer, you can see that it's $100. But once I put it in that dirt, it's going to get gritty and dirty and sticky. But when I take it out of the dirt, even though it's dirty, it is still, is it a $5 bill? No. Is it a $10 bill? No. Because it gets dirty doesn't mean that the $100 has lost its value. And so that's what it means when you're going through credit restoration. It's going to seem very dirty, very hard. The stuff that they pulling on your credit report, it will seem dirty. It will see, because it is very aggressive, as Mr. Lee says, to get off. But it will never change your value. Even if people walk off and leave you, even if people say, I'm going to another company, even if people say, I just don't get him and his company, you know, he's all right, but it will not change my value. It won't change the fact that from 2018 up until now, you got what you said you wanted to get. You know, so you can drive that nice, pretty vehicle up to that nice car. You don't have to worry. Sometimes even with the condo, I used to have to worry about, I need to get home because that joker is going to be in my parking space. You don't have to worry about You don't have to worry about anything of that nature. Life will throw some dirty, oh my God, you'll go through some dirty situations, but do not let it change your value. Who you are is the tenacity of the very essence of who you are. So at the end of the day, it is phenomenal. I'm so happy for you. Thank you so much for being my, I don't want to say the last guest in Texas, but you know, just to sum it up with the home buying process. So, and he talked about, go ahead.
There was one thing and now this is just for me. I said, but, and if you believe in God, I would say that on my foundation of my home, I said, we wrote scriptures and things of that nature. I said, because God is the foundation of my life. Yeah. I was like, so, I would say, because that's who I trust, I said, in the whole building process and everything. So I just want to, let people, I said, that's one of those things I said, if anything, when you're going through that process and you're able to do it, be able to just write a scripture in there or write something. I said, and just give glory to God and thank him for, because the foundation meant so much to me. I said, because that was just that's the basis of it and where it all began.
Right. And that's your foundation. Upon this rock, I build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Prevail means that it will not win. Whatever he had to go through from 2018 up until now, he actually won, and he's still winning. It's almost like you can say, I'm the winner. You can, even though you're going to go through the fight, you still are going to win. And credit restoration is not a quick overnight success. And I want to say to anybody that's watching me now, I just got to tell you the truth. I don't know anything else but the truth. There's a lot of platforms out there that tell you, I can get it off in 5 days. I can get it off in 30 days. I can get it off in 10 days, but I can't say that. I know it is very aggressive. It is very complicated. Just one account. It seems like everything else came off, but that one credit union, that one car payment, it could be that one credit card. As my Aunt Katie used to say, it won't turn it loose. So it's very, very aggressive. But thank you so much. Shout out to everybody. Y'all keep telling Mr. Lee congratulations and all of that good stuff. Shout out to Shasta Wright and Lewis. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I couldn't have planned that no better. And just before you go, 30 seconds or less, Mr. Lee, when you talked about the preferred lender, that's the lender that, works with that particular builder and that company. So that's what he chose to do, which is okay if you choose to do that. Versus Mr. Lewis, which is an independent broker. You know, he has his company and his particular system as well. So sometimes it's you have to find your route, and find your particular stream and just flow in that. And so I'm so super excited about that. You know, that you got what you need, you had the money, and you know, even through this pandemic. So don't tell me, even in the pandemic, you can't buy your house, you can't buy your car, you know, because I'm looking at me another Mercedes, ain't gonna tell nobody. You know, so don't tell me you can't get your stuff. And I'm telling you, and especially, you know, it's a lot of people, business people, sole proprietorships and LLCs and corps and S corps and C corps. You know, you're getting this $10,000, you know, with the People Protection Program and all these celebrities getting this money. But are you going to have that money for generational wealth? That's all I keep hearing is break that cycle so you can have that discipline, sacrifice, so you can be motivated and you can achieve generational wealth. So thank you, Mr. Lee. Any final words before you go?
No, like I said, people, I just want to say, everybody, just stay encouraged. I know it's a time where it just seems like you just don't know what's going to happen. I said, you know, like I said, I walk by faith, not by sight. And thank you very much for the congratulations from everybody this evening. And it will happen if you want it to happen. Yeah. I said, you know, continue to work on the discipline, the sacrifice, and the motivation, and you will win.
Absolutely. Right. Well, there's another congratulations, Mr. Lee, on your new home. I'm going to end it right there with my boy, Jeremy Gunn. Thank you so much, Mr. Lee. We will talk. I appreciate you. Appreciate your time. Yes. I know you're a busy man. I wish you could just put me some food through there. One of them. God almighty. So thank you so much. I love you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Well, there you have it. That's what the news. He's got his new home, and you know, it is just phenomenal. But I want to say before I go, if you have any questions about home buying, you know, I have myself and Lewis is in the room as well. If you have any questions, I'll take a couple of questions right now. But listen, Dorsey Credit Restoration is not an overnight process, and it's not a quick fix, but it is very rewarding, and you will feel so elated. You will be so happy and so tremendously glad that you started this process. So I'm speaking generational wealth for you and your family. A good man leaves an inheritance for his kids. And Deuteronomy 8:18 talks about being able to get the power of wealth. And so this is what the Lord has gave us, Deuteronomy 8:18. And I just want to fact check. So at the end of the day, this is what you want, the power to get wealth. I don't really pray for riches or anything of that nature, but I do want to be wealthy. I don't want to have to wonder how I'm going to pay my light bill. I don't want to be light bill too. I can have a gas bill too. I can have telephone disconnect. I can have phone disrespect. I can see what you ought to do. See the from. Didn't you work it out? You know, I used to sing that song up. Give it over to the Lord. He worked it out. Oh, yeah. I love it. I'm telling you, don't want to do telephone disconnect. We're going to take care of what y'all to do. All right. We want to make sure that you live a life. Okay. I'm going to pass on to my son, to my daughter, to my friends, to my family. Generational wealth. Right? So I hope you enjoyed this show on tonight. Shout out to everybody that has joined me tonight. Incidentally, I'm going to put the live credit show back up. I'm going to give you the thing for that. This is the last one for right now. I have a lot of moving stuff to do, and I have a whole lot of stuff to do, and I like to keep that in. But for the most part, I'm going to be back live on the 4th of August. On the 4th of August, I'm going to be back live, and I'm going to do a live. It will actually be a drive, a sign and drive. It's going to be a sign and drive. I'm going to be coming to get your book. I'm going to have a lot of books, and I'm going to be there in that Decatur area. And this young man, I'm going to be live at Vera James Salon and Studios. Jeremy, if you want to salon name and the number that they can contact us. If you would do that for me really quickly. Vera James, I don't want to mess the name up, but I'm going to be there for when I get back to Atlanta. I'm relocating back to Atlanta and all of that good stuff. So I'm super excited about that. That's just Atlanta. So at the end of the day, it's going to be off the hook. So if you're in Atlanta, if you're in Alabama, if you're in the surrounding cities, Greenville, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, you want to come and, just kind of bump elbows or just serve a little bit of quarantine with our mask on. We're going to have those books and we're going to be signing some of the books there. You can stay in your car. You don't even have to come in the building unless you want to get a quick shampoo or a haircut or something of that nature. So it is going to be, y'all like that too. He'll work it out. Jesus. He'll work it out, baby. I tell you, he'll work it out. Ain't no doubt about it. He'll work it out. What I do is here it is. Vera James Salon and Studio. Thank you. Vera James Salon and Studio. I'll be back on August the 4th. That's the first Tuesday. So don't think the show is going anywhere. I just need the rest of July to be able to do what I do to get all this stuff and do what I need to do, but I'll be back. So it won't be any show for next Tuesday and the following Tuesday because I'm transitioning with all this new stuff. But at the end of the day, I'll be back live and effect on August the 4th. And with the live, you'll meet this young man, you'll meet a whole bunch of other people, and it's going to be off the hook. We're going to have some live hors d'oeuvres that night, and we're going to be signing some books and buying some books and all of that good stuff. So that's at Vera James Salon and Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. You can also reach us at 404-409-4067. 404-409-4067. That's at Vera James Salon and Studio. So if you need a haircut, shampoo, if your hair is falling out, if you need more hair, you ain't got no hair, you can put it up. All right. So I've enjoyed myself tonight. Of course, this was all about generational wealth and success stories. Generational, what a way just to sum it all up since I've been here in Dallas, Texas. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the people that I've met here. I'm not going to say goodbye. I'm just going to say see you later. Thank you so much for all your support in Grand Prairie, Bristol, Texas, Plano, Texas, Mansfield, DeSoto, all those, Denton, Texas, Euless, Texas. Thank you so much for all the people that have supported my show. You all be blessed. Remember, it takes discipline, sacrifice, and motivation. Discipline, sacrifice, and motivation. What is it again? Discipline, sacrifice, and motivation. So August the 4th is the book signing in Atlanta, Georgia at Vera James Salon and Studio, 404-409-4067. Again, that's August the 4th. I'll be back. August the 4th, book signing. If you have not got your book, shame on you. As Esther said to Grady or Lamont, shame. Such wickedness I've never seen. All right, meet me at Vera James Salon and Studio. All right, Vera James Salon and Studio. And that's on August the 4th. And you can do it virtually. If you want to order that book that night, you can do it. You don't even have to leave your house. If you can't get there, you can do it and join the party. We're going to do it live, and the show will be live there. Only a certain amount of people we can get in there just because of the COVID. All right, but it is going to be off the hook, and we're just going to have a party. So meet us there August the 4th. With signing driving signs. All right, it's almost like you're not in that Sonic drive-through, the hamburger place, and you just keep on moving and do what you do. All right, so be blessed. This is the credit expert, Costello James. I will see you next time. It is just going to be off the hook. Congratulations again to Mr. Samari Lee. It has just been my pleasure to work with him, and you all just be blessed, stay safe, and don't worry about what